Hey flutes, let's learn syncopation. I've been a flutist for 21 years now, and I have also taught in the classroom from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade. General music, high school band, beginner band, jazz band, marching band, all the bands. And I want to provide lessons that can hopefully be helpful to you along your flute journey. So what is syncopation? It is the practice of displacing the beats or accents in music or a rhythm so that strong beats become weak and weak beats become strong. Here is an example of a basic measure versus a syncopated measure. The arrows above the example are a visual of the steady beat. Notice the steady beat doesn't change, but the emphasis within the steady beat is what changes. Measure 1 is just 4 basic quarter notes, all played on the down beat, which would be the strong beat. Measure 3 begins with an eighth note followed by quarter notes. This creates a syncopated pattern. In measure 3, the steady beat arrows are now in between the quarter notes, which means the weak beats now become strong and the strong beats now become weak. When using eighth notes for syncopation, you must be confident in the note tree and how each rhythm relates to the longer rhythm one branch above. For the course of this video, we will focus on the eighth notes and the quarter note. A quarter note in 4/4 time gets 1 full beat. This means the sound will stretch from 1 metronome click and it'll stop just before the next metronome click, which is the steady beat. Notice how 2 eighth notes fit into this quarter note. If we divided this rhythm into the eighth notes, one would land on the downbeat and one would land on the upbeat. Therefore, the quarter note lasts the full length of your foot tapping the ground, coming back up, and the sound stops just before your foot taps the ground again. When we break a rhythm down into shorter sounds, we call this subdivision. Syncopation, most of the time, is just dividing the quarter note between the downbeats and the upbeats using eighth notes. We are often most comfortable with eighth notes when they look like this. Be sure not to let these eighth notes confuse you with these eighth notes. These two rhythms are the same in length. 1 flag is equivalent to 1 beam. The only difference is the beam is used to connect multiple eighth notes and the flag is used when we're only playing 1 eighth note. However, the length of each eighth note is the same. And for syncopation, most of the time, you'll see the eighth notes written one at a time rather than multiple connected by a beam. However, the length is still the same. So that means 1 eighth note with 1 flag is the same as one of these eighth notes that is connected with the beam to other eighth notes. Let's practice playing a passage where the eighth notes are written differently. You play with me as I count off. 1, 2, ready, play. Notice when we play this passage, they are the same length notes, even though they look different. Remember, 1 flag is equivalent to 1 beam. Now that we learned that 1 flag is equivalent to 1 beam, and we also learned with our note tree that 2 eighth notes is equivalent to 1 quarter note, we can really start to learn, understand, and play syncopated measures with more ease. For the remainder of this video, our syncopated exercises will branch off of a public domain piece that is written in G major. So let's first warm up with the G major scale. When I count off, you play the G major scale with me. 1, 2, ready, play. Now that we're warmed up, I'm going to play 2 different options for you before you see it. And I want you to tell me which measure is the syncopated measure. Then you will play along with me the second time so that you can practice playing the syncopated measures as well. Here is option 1. Here's option 2. Can you hear which one is syncopated? If you guess option 2, you're right. Now I'm going to put both options on the screen and I want you to play along with me. Here's option 1. 1, 2, ready, play. Here's option 2. 1, 2, ready, play. You've listened, you've seen it, and you've played along with both the basic measure and the syncopated measure. Hopefully you're starting to really understand how syncopated measures work, and hopefully it's becoming a little bit easier for you. Here's a picture of that same basic measure and the syncopated measure from earlier. This picture gives you a visual of how the quarter notes are now played on the upbeat. Notice how syncopation does not manipulate the beat, it manipulates the feel of the beat. To better understand syncopation, I'm going to provide you with some examples to see exactly where the eighth note's landing and what your foot is doing at that time. When my toe is tapping the ground like this picture, that's the downbeat. For now, you will have 4 downbeats in each measure. Your toe should touch the ground every time you hear the metronome click. When your toe touches the ground, that's the first eighth note. When my toe goes back up into the air, that is when the upbeat happens. That is the second eighth note. And your foot should go in the air between the metronome clicks, not on the metronome clicks. That is the upbeat. This means when you tap your foot down and then back up, that's equivalent to 1 full quarter note. To subdivide it, the down is 1 eighth note, the up is the second eighth note, because it takes 2 eighth notes to fill a quarter note. Here is a video representation of what your foot is doing with the metronome and what it looks like. When you play eighth notes consecutively, every eighth note lands on both the downbeat and the upbeat. Let's play this G major scale using the metronome. Notice with each one how you will also play eighth notes when your foot goes up as well as when your foot goes down. Play with me when I count off. 1, 2, ready, play. Hopefully you were tapping your foot while playing that scale, so you could tell how the eighth notes landed both when your foot goes down and when your foot goes up. Let's try some more eighth note patterns using the G major scale. Play with me as I count off. 1, 2, ready, play. Notice when we tie those consecutive eighth notes together, it ends up being equivalent to a quarter note. Take a moment to view this passage and see if you can apply all the information we've previously discussed to this, and then we'll try playing it together. Okay, let's try playing it together with my count off. 1, 2, ready, play. Notice when you tap your foot to the metronome, when this passage, the pattern goes down, up, down, down. Let's try it in an extended passage. 1, 2, ready, play. Hopefully you were quickly able to recognize that both measures were the exact same. As you continue to practice reading syncopation, it gets easier, just like reading a book. The more words you read, the easier it gets and the faster you are to recognize them. Now that we've broken down syncopation using visuals, let's first play our public domain piece, and then we'll move into some syncopated exercises that branch off this piece. Play with me when I count off. 1, 2, ready, play. play some syncopated exercises that I wrote that are based in G major scale. We'll play each one and then we'll discuss it. The great thing about this being on video, if you don't get it the first time, rewind and try again. Here's our first exercise. Play with me when I count off. 1, 2, ready, play. Notice on that first one, you've already played that measure. This time, the rhythm was exactly the same, but you had different notes within the G major scale. Let's make it a little bit trickier and try this second one. Again, if you don't get it the first time, rewind, try again. Play with me when I count off. 1, 2, ready, play. This one that we just played is a little tricky in a few different ways. Let's discuss it. The first thing you might notice is the eighth note followed by the quarter note pattern is now written on different beats within the measure rather than just the same beat in each measure. Our previous exercise only had this pattern written on the first beat of each measure. The second thing you might have noticed is the 3 eighth note groupings in various measures. Most of the time when you see 3 eighth note groupings like this, it is written to be eighth note triplets, which would all be played within one beat. These, however, are not triplets. These are 3 eighth notes played on the up, down, up. So it stretches across 1.5 beats, not just one beat like the triplets would. Be sure, anytime you might have a passage like this, that you don't let that confuse you. Most of the time, if they want it to be written as triplets, there will be the number 3 below it or above it like this. Moving on to our third exercise, play along with me when I count off. 1, 2, ready, play. With each exercise, you may feel like it is getting a little bit more advanced, a little bit more difficult. However, hopefully, as you continue to play, it also feels like you might be getting more comfortable reading the syncopation. I specifically put similar recognizable patterns in here, but I made it a little bit more advanced by adding higher ranges, and I put that 3 eighth note grouping, the 1.5 beats, the up, down, up, or the down, up, down, on multiple beats within the measure rather than just the same beat within the measure. I also added a basic measure like measure 5 into this exercise to see if your brain could switch back to the strong beats, the natural strong beats rather than the syncopated strong beats. Okay, let's move forward with our fourth exercise. As I said previously, they get a little bit more challenging. If this is too much within one video, you could always just come back the next day with each exercise and play one exercise a day and see how your skills might grow within the week rather than just watching it for one video. Or you could try playing all the passage in this video and still continue to play the passages on separate days to see if you can strengthen that skill a little bit more. On to our next exercise. 1, 2, ready, play. This one again is a little bit more difficult because we added in some ties. Not only can ties sometimes make it a little bit trickier, but to make it a little bit more challenging, you may have noticed that we had ties across the bar line. But as you continue to practice and continue to play these passages, hopefully it will get easier for you. Sometimes for me, what makes it easier, if I'm having a hard time reading the syncopated measure, is I'll actually write down arrows and up arrows to help myself understand where the sound lands with my foot going down versus up along with the metronome. If you need to do that, feel free to do that by printing out these exercises and writing on them to make it a little bit easier for you. We'll finish with one final passage for this video, but keep coming back to this channel. I've actually turned this into a series. The next video will be syncopation using silences, so rests like eighth rest and quarter rest, so that we can continue strengthening our reading skills with syncopated patterns. Here's our final exercise. 1, 2, ready, play. This video was helpful for you. If I can adjust it in any way for you, if there's anything that you want me to specifically clarify, or if there's another musical concept I can help teach you through these lessons, please let me know. I'm here for you. Thank you.